What's up, America? Food prices in America keep going up and there's no end in sight.
Okay, so this is for South Phoenix. I want to hear your thoughts on the price gouging that is going on at Foot City and Ranch Market. In the last few weeks, I have specifically seen the biggest price increases in groceries at these two stores. Being that I am in South Phoenix and I am fairly aware of the type of community members we have, which are on fixed income, that don't have reliable transportation, or that are of the older population, what are we doing? Like, what is your family's new strategy to getting food on the table?
The price of vegetables rose by 38.9% in July. Thanks, Trump. This is not Trump's fault and not because of tariffs. Oh, really? Because it's not like our country has just enacted the highest tariff rate since 1934. Okay, but first off, only around 30% of our vegetables consumed in the U.S. are imported. The rest are grown here. Oh, we'll get to that, but 30% isn't nothing, and 70% of those vegetable imports come from Mexico and Canada. Yeah, but here's the thing. Items traded under the USMCA trade deal from both Canada and Mexico are exempt from tariffs, which accounts for nearly all of vegetable imports, so they're facing 0% tariffs. Okay, but in July, the Trump administration put a new and separate 17% tariff specifically on tomatoes from Mexico, whom we get 70% of our tomatoes from. Dude, tomatoes are a fruit. Yeah, but in trade tariff and produce pricing data, they're classified as a vegetable, so they added to the increase for the month. Okay, that's one freaking item of produce. Most of the vegetable imports came in tariff-free. Okay, sure, but that wasn't my main argument. As you said, about 70% of our vegetables are grown in the U.S., and estimates are over 40% of our farm workers nationwide are undocumented, and in California, it is close to 75% of all farm workers. That's the state that produces more vegetables than any other state, over a third of our nation's output. Okay, make your point. Well, ICE has been going crazy, not only with the raids themselves, but with the fear produced by the raids, which has caused, in one estimate, a 20 to 40% reduction of workers in the California farming industry, leading to $3 to $7 billion in crop losses and a 5 to 12% increase in produce prices just from the effects of ICE. 2 points here. One, those farms should start hiring American workers and paying more to do so. Well, they have trouble finding Americans willing to do that work, but also the sad reality is American workers would cost more and increase prices even more. Oh, great. Now you're arguing for cheap illegal labor, but second, historically, the largest factor in vegetable prices is weather. In 2022, a drought caused vegetable prices in Arizona and California to increase 80%, and it's a similar thing today. We're seeing some record heat waves, and that's likely the largest factor. Do you want to blame Trump for the weather now too? I mean, he did call climate change a hoax. Oh, please, if you're angry about that, talk to China. Why don't you? You're the one with the connections there. What?
Guys, I just left Walmart and I want to show you something. This is insane. A bag of cherries and some blueberries. $14.
This is the new reality of America right now, and since the year started 2025, it has been really alarming on how prices of basic commodities like groceries are skyrocketing. We've seen prices of eggs, vegetables, and fruits being untouchable. It's gonna be a threat for the middle and low income earners. This is a danger that needs to be addressed before it reaches a point where it cannot be solved. One would ask themselves, what is leading to all this? And some of the speakers have highlighted the issue of tariffs, but to me, I think it first of all starts with the country itself. What are some of the things that directly affect the country? This could be attributed to extreme weather. Some states have been experiencing storms, like really bad storms and heavy rains. Some have been facing droughts. Combination of these, you'd see someone is ready to harvest and all of a sudden there's huge storms, destroys crops that were ready. Others who had planted these crops expect them to be ready, and then after some time they cannot grow anymore because of extreme temperatures, because maybe these crops are not adapted to these sudden changes in temperature or weather patterns. Another thing I would say is tariffs. There is the issue of labor shortage, price manipulation or price competition, which is made by greedy characters on top of the chain. And even before we dive into this matter, we first want to listen to people's opinions and then we'll give our 2 cents.
So food prices overall over the last 4 years are up anywhere between 20 and 70%. Now, a great deal of that price increase came under Joe Biden's term, but prices are not coming down. As a matter of fact, they're slightly going up, meaning it's still hard for consumers. So let's take a look how bad this actually is. Because a lot of people are saying that there's some relief around the corner when it comes to food prices in America, and I'm here to tell you, unless something drastic is done, there's not. So here's the realities of food prices in the United States. Let me show you. So here's a chart for the cost of food. This is all food starting back before 1970. And you can see the price slowly stagnating and rising, actually kind of hanging out here between the 90s and the 2000s. So that's a nice period of time. Then it increases. Here comes Joe Biden and then Donald Trump. You can see it rockets higher under Joe Biden, stays kind of flat, but still slightly going up under Donald Trump. Here's the same chart for food manufacturing starting in 1986 and going. And Joe Biden, look at that. Everything is kind of normal until whoop, there goes Joe Biden slipping on a banana peel. Then you got Trump, and it's still going up. You see that? No price is coming down. Didn't see one marker going down. Now here's a chart showing the price of food eating out at restaurants starting in 1955. And we've seen the price increase, greatly increasing under Joe Biden and still continuing under Trump. This is the price of food to eat out at a restaurant. Incredible gains in prices. And here's the cost of food starting at the same time for your home, not eating out. This is buying at the grocery store. Look at that. There's the big spike under Joe Biden, continuing to go up under Trump. So that's the realities of food pricing here in the United States. A constant increase with a massive spike from Joe Biden with a continued increase under Trump. Those are just straight up figures. There's nothing I can tell you. This is how reality is. I would like to see deflation. I know a lot of people think that's unpopular, but deflation should happen.
Tomorrow is my husband's birthday, so I just ran to the grocery store with my 3 kids and picked up a bakery cake, 3 birthday cards, some chocolate chip cookies that I can binge eat my feelings away, lemonade, granola, Greek yogurt, and a tiny, quarter pint of ice cream. $89. That's not even a meal for my 3 children. $89. And then I see this report, coincidentally, shortly after I get home, probably because, Apple is reading my mind, about how grocery prices in the year 2025 are at a record high, higher than 2024. What happened to the president that was going to save us from these high grocery prices? It's August now. What has happened? Nothing. How are we supposed to survive this? Now a birthday card and lemonade are a luxury for a middle-class American family? I hate it here. These cookies are delicious.
I want to know, has your grocery bill gone up, gone down, or stayed the same? I went to H-E-B yesterday, and for the first time ever, for 2 of us, my grocery bill was $236, and I didn't even get a full week's worth of groceries. So you can see right there, $236, pause if you want. And it's so interesting because I remember last year during the election, there was all these signs of Trump and Kamala where they said Trump under groceries is going to be $97, and under Kamala it was going to be $297. And I'm looking at this receipt, and my grocery bill is looking more like what they accused and said Kamala and Democrats would be doing. At least on my end, prices here in McAllen, prices have not dropped. A lot of items, prices have gone up. Very few, have dropped. Very, very few. I think eggs finally dropped, and that's about it. But everything else has stayed the same or gone up. So I'm curious what you're seeing on your end, what you're experiencing on your end, because I think this is something that we need to be talking about more, about the cost of living and why prices continue to go high even when you go out to eat. And there's one thing that I learned. I posted about this on my threads. If you want to go check it out, it's Eric Olguin TX. One thing that I learned about Republicans and MAGA, because I was posting about eggs in the past, they hate whenever Democrats talk about grocery prices. I have never gotten so much hate for talking about grocery prices from Republicans the way I do now whenever I talk about them. And I think we're on to something. I think they don't like that we're calling them out for doing something that they accused Democrats of doing and saying what Kamala was going to do. So if you're a Democrat, post about your grocery prices, post your grocery bill. This is what people need to see in order for their minds to change, to know that Republicans are not helping them, that Trump is making our pocketbooks worse, that he's doing terrible things for our economy. So that's just one observation. Republicans really don't like it whenever you talk about your grocery bill and how grocery prices have not gone down, because they swore Trump was going to lower prices, and he has not. Prices have gone up under Trump. So let's see those grocery bills.
Okay, your grocery bill just went up 8%. Your restaurant meal costs 5% more, and construction projects are stalling. Do you want to know why? Yes, the PPI report came out higher than expected, and that explains part of why our prices are going up so much, but it doesn't tell the whole story. A brand new study out just this week shows that while tariffs are one culprit, there's another huge reason prices are surging so badly. The paper's title, Warning Signs of the Economic Harms from Deportations. It shows that exactly what economists said was going to happen is happening. Let's start with food prices, which we know are going crazy. Fresh vegetables are up 8% annually. Meat prices jumped almost 8% too. Restaurant meals are up over 5%. Why? Not just tariffs. It's because we lost 155,000 farm workers in just the last 4 months. That is a 6.5% drop in agricultural employment. Now let's talk about construction, because Trump promised to get housing prices down, right? Except that construction costs are about to explode. Why? According to this study, because building permits are crashing in states that rely on immigrant workers. They're down 17% in the Northeast alone. This is basic econ 101. When you can't find workers to build houses, housing gets more expensive for everyone. What about hospitality, which we already know is struggling because of Trump? The study says hotel prices are rising. The cost of eating out jumped 4.1% annually, and full restaurant meals are up over 5%. I mean, really, you have to read this to believe it. We lost 1.2 million workers from the labor force between January and July. When you remove that many people from the workforce, everything gets more expensive to produce, and those costs get passed on to us. And this is ultimately what mass deportation is going to look like. Not cheaper groceries or lower rent, but higher prices on literally everything we buy. So the next time someone tells you mass deportations are good for the economy, show them your receipts, because the data is clear. Mass deportations mean higher prices for everyone. Don't say we didn't warn you.
So quite frankly, a law has been discussed, and we are finding out that the low income earners and the middle income earners in America are in real trouble, and even them are questioning this move and the development, especially of these grocery prices rising. One would ask themselves, is this all about groceries, or is it a bigger picture to be painted, especially where there is the issue of economic justice, climate resilience, and also business or trade ethics? Why? This is because sometimes back, if you remember, we talked about short-term fixes and long-term fixes of this issue of grocery prices going up. One of those for the short-term fixes was to revisit or to review the tariffs and trade policies. If the tariffs or trade policies that have been imposed right now in a way are kind of inflating the prices of groceries, then the administration needs to try to restructure the percentage of tariffs, especially for those commodities that are being imported into the country, because these tariffs are directly posted to consumers, and it's them that are really finding it tough or finding it rough. Another thing is the revision of immigration because of the labor shortage, and it's no lie that for the longest now we've been talking about the importance of labor and how the positives of immigration has been supply of labor. Just to be frank, is that the population in America themselves, most of them wouldn't prefer to go to farms, tend to crops, or make harvest, weeding, and most of the farms have been tended by the migrants, and unfortunately most of them have been undocumented. Revising immigration would actually play a huge impact if they would lessen the bureaucracy in issuing papers necessary for those migrants who work in farms. That would really help. Another issue is the administration tackling the greedification, and greedification is basically that idea of that corporate greed, the big players in the market trying to set prices that are going to favor them or they're going to be highly profitable to them without considering consumer, just like what consumer protection is in general. If prices continue soaring and it reaches to a point where the majority of the population cannot afford, it's no longer survival. Like restaurants would close down because people cannot pay their bills. People would be skipping meals and would be having an unhealthy population, a starving population as a whole. And the last is dealing with agriculture directly as it is. How? If you've read about climate change, it reaches a point where the basic plants or plantation that people used to grow can no longer be planted, or can be planted but also can be supplemented by others that are called drought resistant or climate resistant crops, where there are crops that can survive after floods or storms, and there are those that can survive after a huge drought. Investing in that can actually change the narrative as a whole. I really hope those are some of the steps that can be taken in order to bring down grocery prices in the long run. It's not just an issue that is going to affect the MAGA or Trump supporters, it's also going to affect the other people on the side of the Democrats. Let's say it's America as a whole. Hey guys, that's my opinion. This is the point now. I leave it to you to share yours. Please don't be shy to give your thoughts in the comment section down there below. Also, credits goes to original creators. Their usernames have been embedded in the Stitch videos as always. Go on to their TikToks, like their videos. For this channel, make sure you smash a huge thumbs up button. Consider subscribing, turn on post notifications so that you may not miss my next upload. And with that guys, let me meet you in the next one. Peace.